Hello, it's Rejection Gaming here. How's everyone doing today? I'm going to be giving you guys a different video than what I usually give you, where it's me just lively commentating on a game, kind of as what I do during a stream. This one's going to be more about giving you guys advice, and the topic I want to talk about today is something that's probably one of the most debated topics when dealing with relationships, which is, of course, the friend zone. Now, a lot of people speculate that the friend zone either exists or doesn't exist. Now, to me personally, I believe that it does exist. However, most of the time, when people consider to be getting friend zoned, it's actually not even being friend zoned, it's just a cliche rejection, which is where the other half of people who say that the friend zone doesn't exist come from. They just think that's a cliche rejection. Now, it may be true most of the time, but there are certain situations in which they're wrong and it actually is, legitimately being friend zoned. However, it's not the worst thing to be friend zoned, and I'll be explaining that later. Now, this video is going to have three different parts, three different segments in this video. First one being, of course, the cliche rejection. Second one being legitimate friend zone. And the third being another version of legitimate friend zone, but something that I also want to kind of stop, the mindset of why people think that. Our first topic is the cliche rejection. There's not a lot I can really say about the cliche rejection. Usually this is just when they say, oh, I think we should just be friends, or I think that, this is that I just don't want to lose you as a friend. A lot of times this is just a lot of BS, and they're just saying this that way. They're like, I don't hurt their feelings as much because I'm just showing them that I do like them a lot too, but I just think that we're really good friends and I don't want to ruin that. And I'm going to talk about that a bit more in the end as well, which is kind of another thing dealing with legitimate friend zone, but a lot of times these are just BS lines they're saying just because they don't feel the same way about you, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. Now, I've had this actually happen to me before, which I kind of hated because it's not that I really like the person that much. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of happy that because we just don't have anything in common. But at the same time, I wish they would have given me a legitimate, breakup line. Like, you know what, we're not, or not, not breakup, sorry, rejection line. So I'd been talking to a girl for a while. It was actually blindly set up through a friend. Or an ex-friend. I'll talk about that in another video. But anyways, so we start texting a lot. We hang out beginning of school every day, and we're also just talking a whole bunch, and we end up actually going to the movies. Now, the movie date kind of went fine. I mean, we both enjoyed our time there. We talked to some friends that we saw randomly, which is kind of funny that because usually when I went out on date with other people, I've never actually run into friends, so it's kind of funny to see that happen. Now, we started talking, for another week after that little date, but in the end I was given that whole BS line, we're better off as friends, but I don't think I've actually talked to this person since then. I mean, it's not that, I was so upset, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna distance myself, that way I can strike it. No, it's the fact that, it was a BS line. They didn't actually like me as a friend. They just said, you're a pretty nice person, I just don't like you. But they wanted to use the whole BS friend line because they think that would have hurt me less. But I think, being cliche-ly, led to the point of believing, oh, we're just better off as friends. No, I don't like, BS lines. I'd rather be told the truth, because I think that it's a lot better than giving someone some false hope in a way. It's really weird, kind of hard for me to explain. I'll probably try a bit better in a different video, but let's move on to our next point. Now, our next point, of course, is talking about legitimately getting friend zoned. Now, some of you are probably thinking, didn't you just explain how a whole bunch of these lines are just BS anyways, so how is it possible to be legitimately friend zoned? Well, being legitimately friend zoned is when both parties had actually liked each other at a point. However, there was a time where they could have asked one out and they would have said yes, but that time has passed. And now I've actually experienced that before, in which a really good friend of mine and I had liked each other, but I waited way too long and did not actually get my chance with them. However, it wasn't that bad that I didn't get my chance with them, because honestly the relationship would not have worked out. So I'd liked this friend for a very long time, I was very shy, so I never really said anything that fast, so I really waited way too long, and that opportunity for me to ask them out passed, and also it was kind of awkward because I kept having an on again off again thing with a guy, so it was like I couldn't really find a good way to go in on it. But it wasn't actually that bad, because in the end I don't think the relationship would have worked out. Now, when I did ask them out, I was of course rejected, as I stated earlier, and they said it's because they liked me at a point, but after being friends for so long, they just didn't feel the same way anymore. And you know what? It probably would have happened like that if we had actually gone out. Because like I said before, the relationship was more really good as friends, and if it involved in something more, sure, there'd be probably about a month of bliss, but it'd go really bad really fast. And the thing about it was the fact that because we were staying friends for so long, they actually managed to see how the relationship would turn out. And that's why I enjoyed the fact that, you know what, they actually thought about it and they actually did like me at that point. But they did see that, okay, if we had gone out, how would it have worked? Well, I'd probably be talking to her and she'd probably be talking to me, but then there'd be a lot of silence for like a month, because honestly, we talk a lot, but at certain points we just stop talking altogether, and it'd be like, ring them up on the phone, hey, are we still dating? I think so, yeah? I don't know. It would just be really awkward because we were both very shy people, and I mean, that's probably what they actually saw of it. They're like, okay, even as friends, we have points where we're not talking for a month, not because we don't like each other as friends, but just because we don't really have anything to say right now. And that's kind of how the relationship would go if it did evolve into that. And so I'm actually kind of grateful that we did just stay friends. Now, as I start rambling on a bit more, we're going to be going into our next topic, which is, of course, the legitimate but not so, good. I can't explain that. Now we move on to our third topic, which, of course, is another version of legitimate friend zone. Now, this version of legitimate friend zone is what I consider the scaredy cat's approach to it, in which they're so fearful that a relationship will wreck the friendship in the end that they don't want to risk it. However, I think that this should be not really, a version of friend zoning, just because I think that they should take the chance. At the point where the person has been asked out by the other, the damage is already done at that point. I mean, what, you think, oh, if we're never going to be dating, then it'll never be awkward? It's going to be awkward right here, just because you know that this person liked you. And, I mean, it's going to be the same as if, you dated for a while, and eventually you guys grew apart, or something happened, broke up. I mean, I think that friendship can exist after a relationship as long as there's friendship before. Now, another argument that you may be thinking, okay, what if it doesn't work, but we still stay friends, and then, one of us gets another boyfriend or girlfriend, then wouldn't that be awkward because we couldn't really hang out just because there was, a relationship before with that person, and the other party would not like that because they're jealous? Well, the point that you may have forgotten, though, is the fact that this person already asked you out. The person's already not going to like the person just based off that little fact alone, but you're thinking, oh, well, if they don't know that they asked you out or something. Well, I mean, you could go along with that, but that's not very honest because, of course, they're kind of going to see, oh, wait, this person does like them. Huh. I mean, a lot of times it's very obvious towards other people because we're all very dense when it comes to relationships. I mean, honestly, someone could like you and you'll just be like, oh, I don't think they like me. And all your friends and all of their friends can be like, they like you, man, or they like you, girl, whatever. But anyways, that's what I want to say about, the friend zone and everything. I don't think that this third part should really be something dealing with the friend zone. I think that they should just take the chance because the damage is already done. I mean, no matter what, it is going to be awkward. It's always going to be awkward if they are rejected or if there's a breakup that occurs. However, I think that the friendship can go on. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more content. And also let me apologize before, you start writing things in the comments. This is my first time actually doing a video in which I'm taking random audio segments of me talking and putting them into a clip. I know I ramble on a lot, but that's just my personality. I was doing this stuff without a script. And you know what? If you have any comments, I'd like to hear them just because I want to improve and give you guys better content. And hopefully my advice does help you out, even though, like I said before, it's a lot of rambling. And I'll probably try to do a more clean version later when I actually get a bit more collected with this and get more used to doing this kind of commentary. So as I said before, guys, like, subscribe for more, and I hope that this helped you.